Resume recording. We are going live now. Yeah, we are live now, and we are admitting people here also. Just a minute.
Am I audible to you?
Yes, Manoj, you are.
Okay, okay. Prajal, are we good to go?
Just a minute. Need to admit everybody. Yes, we are good to go now. I have admitted everyone.
Okay, okay. Can you see the screen? It is the PPT share.
Yes, your PPT is visible now.
Okay, okay. So I would like to welcome everyone on the behalf of Social Story. My name is Manoj, and I will give you an introduction about Social Story. Social Story Foundation was started 2 years back with the vision of giving a platform and recognition to the people who are making a social change. In the continuation of our efforts of giving a platform to the social change makers, we launched an initiative called Leaders for Social Change, and today is the last version of this season one called Leaders for Social Change. And today we have the five presenting organizations. We have Spark Pinda, we have UPL, we have Smile Foundation, we have Jindal Stainless, and we have ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel. These are the organizations today. They'll be participating and they'll be sharing their journey of impact. Uh, I take immense pleasure in introducing our jury members. Uh, we have the eminent jury members coming from the various esteemed organizations and reputed Institute of Eminence. First of all, I would like to welcome Dr. Mani Padmadatta. He is the current Vice Chancellor at Terry School of Advanced Studies. I would like to thank you very much, sir, for supporting throughout the journey of Leader for Social Change and supporting us. And next, we have our jury member, Dr. Seema Sharma. Dr. Seema Sharma is currently the head of the department at Department of Management Studies, IIT Delhi. She has been a great support behind the social story as well as Leader for Social Change. I would like to thank you, ma'am, for supporting also, as always. We also have Professor Prashant Chauhan. He's from MIT School of Social Sciences, and he has been a great force behind supporting us. Mr. Prashant Chauhan is a social work educator, practitioner, and researcher, and he speaks about and he teaches about his students about the women and child rights activist. He is also the convener at Changemakers Club, which he has started for the students. And we also have Mr. Yashvir Singh from Ashoka Changemakers. Mr. Yashvir Singh is the executive director at Ashoka Changemakers. So while thinking of launching this initiative, we reached out to Terry, IIT Delhi, and Ashoka, so as to make this program as credible. And we are thankful for all the participant organizations and my team for joining together in this great initiative. Uh, this program has been a great success. And since we are closing this season one today, we have had the great organizations who has participated, and second version of the event will be also launched soon, since we have the request from the corporate to launch the second version. So again, I would like to thank you everyone and to all the organizations who are participating today in this event. So this was about the jury members. Now we have first our organization. Uh, Today our first organization is UPL. From UPL, we have uh, Rishi Patania sir, and Rishi Patania sir is heading the CSR at UPL, and I would like to thank you, Rishi sir, for supporting us and nominating your organization. And I know today you have the presentation about your initiative, Project Vasudha. Sir, I would like to request you to start speaking about and telling to our audiences about the project that you have made through the project Vasudha. Thank you very much, sir. Over to
Thank
you.
you so much. Thank you so much. And thanks for giving this opportunity and platform to discuss about projects. I think it's important to share and learn from each other. And also it's very important to get a proper feedback and a guidance from eminent jury like we have for this initiative. So thank you so much from all of us at UPL. Hi, good evening to everyone. My name is Rishi Pathania and I'm heading the CSR for UPL Group. I'm very proud of UPL's journey of CSR, which has a history of 50 years. When I made a presentation on UPL Pragati, our sustainable livelihood initiative, I gave a complete detail of background, so I'll not be touching that again. But just to give you a kind of a framework to refresh everyone's knowledge, our commitment and intervention can be classified into four thematic focus area at UPL. The first one is institution of excellence. The second one is sustainable livelihood. The third one is nature conservation, and last one is a local and national area need. Last time in Social Story platform, I presented our sustainable livelihood initiative and the activities that we are doing under sustainable livelihood. Today, I'll be talking about our nature conservation initiative. We call our initiative as UPL Vasudha. And what I'll do is just to, because this is a nature conservation initiative, I'll be taking help of few slides to so that I can communicate in a much effective way. So first is the rationale. Why really we thought of starting UPL Vasudha? I think at UPL we very well understand that the environment is vital for our well-being, and every element should be protected. Global warming, deforestation, poor air quality, water quality are some of the effects of environmental degradation, which are detrimental to the health of all life in the earth, whether it's animal, human, plants. At UPL, we are working responsibly and proactively towards conservation and protection of flora and fauna in the region wherever we are. Primarily, we are into Gujarat and Maharashtra, so we have adopted areas around us. In the process, just to make it sustainable, we really ensure that community is an important stakeholder and they should be part of this project at every stage of initiative that we do. And I'll be sharing how we ensure that. This is with an assumption, a deeper respect and understanding of what nature provides guides us towards our nature conservation efforts. Finally, our goal is to ensure that every living being has an improved quality of life on planet Earth. So that's broadly the rationale behind our UPL Vasudha program. Just to give you an idea of our approach, it's based on engagement, awareness, ownership, action, network, and advocacy. So that's the fundamental tenets of the UPL Vasudha. We have 6 initiatives under Vasudha. By the way, Vasudha is a Sanskrit word which means Mother Earth, giver of wealth. So from our UPL Vasudha initiative, we are aiming to integrate everyone, all the stakeholders in our initiative. So that's really what we are trying to do with the Vasudha. We work with various stakeholders. The idea is to improve the natural habitat in the region. It's done through information dissemination, increase awareness, focus effort to preserve and protect the environment. So broadly, that's how we do this. So that's our approach for our initiative. The first initiative under Vasudha is a species conservation project, Saras Conservation. We took up this project 5 years back. Till now, we have covered 36 villages. We have reached uh, approximately 7,000 students and around 4,000 villagers. To ensure sustainability of a project and to ensure people's participation, we started forming Rural SARAS Protection Group because we may do any kind of an initiative, but it's important that it sustains whenever we withdraw from this initiative. Very happy to tell everyone, when we started this initiative, we document maybe around 450 SARAS in the Kheda area where we are working on this project. And in the last count, which we did in the month of July, we have documented 829 SARAS. So that's a kind of an increase that's happened. SARAS, by the way, is the only indigenous crane from India. It used to be on a big span, covering large tract of area, but now the concentration of SARAS is only in few districts of UP, which is Mainpuri and that pocket, and 1 or 2 districts in Gujarat, predominantly in Kheda. So that's precisely the reason that we adopted in this area, because it's close to us. We have also created a lot of awareness with the farmers because they are the most important stakeholder, and we have cases where mostly farmers, they'll come up if they see any threat towards SARAS. So that's broadly the SARAS conservation project that we are doing under UPL Vasudha. The second initiative that we have taken up 2 years back is deer and ungulate breeding project. If anyone is from this part of Gujarat, in southern Gujarat, they will be able to relate that it has a good forest area. But what has happened over a period of time, there is no herbivorous left in this forest because of different reasons. So we made a partnership with Nature's Club Surat and the Forest Department, Government of Gujarat. And a breeding center was developed at Vasda National Park. So it's completely owned by, we are supporting this and we are partners in this project. The first soft release was done on 26th March 2019. As of now, we have 28 spotted deer and 10 antelopes in this area. The whole project works around conservation, breeding, and reintroduction of the pre-existing species from this area. So that's what we are doing under this project in this area. The third project that we are doing is social forestry and mangrove plantation. This project is something where we are working on end-to-end kind of a initiative. So it's not a plantation project where we'll just go and do some kind of a plantation and we'll come back. The whole project starts with our partnership with the Gram Panchayat. And then we develop this project, what is an area which can be developed, and then the community gets involved in the project right from beginning. We do plantation. In fact, we start with the covering of that area, ensuring there's a water, ensuring it gets protected. And finally, after 4 to 5 years, when we convert this barren land into forest, we hand it over to the community. So that's an idea. It's not a plantation project, it's an end-to-end forestry project where we ensure we create forestry and hand it over to the community. Till now, we have done 300 acres of land under forest area, and approximately 3 lakh saplings have been planted, or maybe we have ensured that it has grown in this last 4 to 5 years. Our next initiative is mangrove plantation, which we have done around our Dahej area because it has got a big coastal belt next to us, and we have covered almost 100 acres of mangrove plantation, and we have planted more than 220,000 mangroves in this area. The next initiative is water conservation. Water is becoming a scarce resource for almost every one of us. So it naturally becomes an important part of our UPL Vasudha. So we have created check dams, group well. This is a very a new project in our system, and this will become very big in next 4 or 5 years. We have worked on group wells. We have worked on deepening and construction of pond. We have worked on construction of pond. We have worked on borewell recharge. Complete community working on that. And also we have worked on farm ponds. We have done maybe 58 odd thousand cubic 100 meters of water conservation. But as I said, this is a new project for us, just 1.5 or 2 years old, and this will become pretty big when we travel and we move ahead. The fifth initiative under Eco Club, under our UPL Vasudha, is Eco Club. Now, this is important to ensure that child and our future are aware of environment as well as nature. And this is a project that we started almost 60 years back. And very happy to tell all of you that we have been able to form 106 eco clubs in different government schools. We work with the community schools around the whole district. And we have an active member base of around 4,323. They do different kinds of activity, whether it's a tree plantation, whether it's working on hygiene. In the process, we have also done 4 teachers and 4 trainings for the teachers and have covered 592 teachers in the process. And you can see that it's a continuous engagement process, because this kind of an initiative needs a kind of a continuous engagement with the kids, and we are there with them for almost 5 years. In fact, we'll keep on working on new things. We have a lot of partners in this, whether it's an EE Foundation and that kind. So that's our 4th initiative under Vasudha. The 5th and final initiative is Green Ganesha, which we started in Bombay 5 years back. You must be aware there's a lot of plaster Paris is being used in making Ganesha in modern times, whereas the actual concept was to make it through Shadu Matti, which is a clay soil from that area, which is eco-friendly. So we do approximately 20 to 25 workshops in Bombay to sensitize and make people aware of the importance of Shadu Matti and the negative impact of plaster of Paris. So we do a lot of workshop. More than 5,000 children have been trained on this, and the whole project works in a way they are being trained and then they make their own Ganesha and take back and they place that in their house. So that's kind of a model that we are following for Green Ganesha. Just to give you a perspective, all these projects, I've given a small brief, because in a limitation of time, I've not gone into a detail of how we are doing everything. But there is something very common across all these initiatives that we are doing. Our initiatives are based on community involvement at all stages, whether it's a planning stage, whether it's implementation stage, whether it's a monitoring stage, or whether it's an impact assessment stage. And we ensure that we form a group and we route it through them. So for SARAS, it's a SARAS protection group. Eco Club kids are there involved right from beginning. For our forestry project, the panchayat and communities involved from day one. That's how we ensure the project will sustain even when we withdraw, and that's what we have done. So wherever we withdraw, it's sustaining on its own. Second is, which is I feel one of the most important component of the project, is ensuring that we have a good partnership. We may have a good intention to do at an organization level, but we really need good partners who have competencies to work around that. Now, mangrove plantation may sound very simple, but it requires a certain degree of expertise to do that, to ensure that it sustains. We are working on plantation, which is primarily in a very degraded land. It's not as if it's a good area, you just go and do a plantation. It's mostly a tract which is unused. It's a degraded land. So we need partner organizations who can work and who have competencies. So we have made partnership in all our initiatives, and we have got some of the best, whether it's an NGO or other partners, on board to implement that. It's very well aligned to our organization, because UPL is a crop care company, and so working on nature conservation is pretty much in line with organization objective and competencies. Also, these sites are very close to our manufacturing sites or our business location, so it makes sense to work on this. So it's again aligned from a business perspective. What we have also done is, from a standardizing perspective, we have standardized our projects into 5 E's we call engage, evolve, enable, enrich. So the whole idea is to make it a process approach rather than just one-off kind of an initiative. We have a very rigorous monitoring schedule, which is at a monthly level. In fact, very soon we'll be going at a real-time kind of a monitoring mechanism with the help of technology. Because of COVID thing, it got delayed, but it will be more of a real-time kind of a monitoring mechanism. So even if you'll ask me right now, I'll show you my desktop and everything will be updated. Also, from a process perspective, we do an impact measurement every 3 years by third party. Last was in 2007. It was due this time. We are going for an outcome assessment this time because of COVID thing. It's not possible to really get into groups in the community. So that's at a process level that they are following. We really have got some good recognition of this program at a national as well as at a global level. Our UPL Vasudha has been recognized at a different level. In fact, the Global CSR Awards in Singapore last time recognized UPL Vasudha. So it's good to get recognized as well as get some really wonderful feedback to make it more effective and ensure that it keeps on delivering the way we are doing.
Right, sir.
That's all from my side. Thank
you very much, sir. Thank you very much. It was fantastic listening to you, and I'm sure all our audiences must have got a lot of insights and information and knowledge about how UPL is impacting the community. And you know, since I've been the great admirer of yours and the way you impact and the thought process that you carry for the community development and sustainability. So thank you very much for joining. It has been a great pleasure interacting with you and having you on the show. Thank you very much for always supporting. Next, we have Smile Foundation. From Smile Foundation, we have Pragya Pranjali, and their project is Nutrition Enhancement Program. Pragya, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, Manoj, I'm there.
Yeah, so I'm just giving a little introduction to Pragya Pranjali for our audiences, and then I'll give the mic to Pragya to speak further about her project. Pragya Pranjali is seasoned professional with an experience over 1.5 decades. She specializes in program management, concept designing, program monitoring and evaluation. And she's currently working as a technical advisor at Smile Foundation. Pragya, welcome to Social Story, and please go ahead with your project.
Manoj, should I upload the presentation?
Yeah, you can share it. Yeah, you can share it.
Okay. Manoj, I'm not able to start my video.
Hi Pragya, are you facing an issue there?
Yes, I'm not able to put on my video.
Okay. Are you able to share your screen? Probably there's a webcam issue, it seems.
Oh, I am able to do now.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'm sharing my screen.
Yeah.
While sharing, please try to share the whole screen so that we don't miss out on the actual presentation.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, it's working. Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, thank you, Manoj, for providing me this opportunity to talk about the project. This project is based out of Block Ambedkar in District Banaskantha, state of Gujarat. Let me give a quick overview of what and set the context in terms of adolescent health and why did we choose this particular age group to work on. Coming from development sector, we all know that India is passing through a phase of demographic dividend, which means that India ranks globally in #1 with the highest number of adolescents, around 243 million, which means around 22.67%, 23% around, which means around 1 close to 1/4 of the population. The girls around this age are 45% less than BMI, that's a normal BMI. Below, the girls give birth at the age of 18 years, like 21.7%, and out of them, around 2 million, that is 9%, live under rural areas and scheduled caste under reserved area. And Banaskantha, why we chose Banaskantha was Banaskantha in Gujarat. It's like the second district, for the first being obviously Sabarkantha, Dahod, and all among the top three is the district which ranging around 7.7% of the adolescent girls who are into their childbearing age when they are below 19 years, which means like early marriage and early pregnancy, the teenage pregnancy which is a major concern. Now, I like to draw your attention towards one of the wonders of the world, which is like epitome of love and beauty, which is Taj Mahal. And this epitome of love is actually, I don't know what to say, it's like epitome of love or epitome of maternal death, because the memory in which this monument has been built died at a very tender age of 39 because of the postpartum hemorrhage of her 14th child, and she was married at the tender age of 19. So you can imagine the complications and the magnitude at which this nutrition enhancement and the anemia management, etc., the issues require a lot of attention from the kids. So rationale for this project, we conducted a baseline study around 2017, and we found that around 78% of the adolescent girls in Banaskantha, in Ameergarh particularly, were anemic, varying from mild to severe. 13% being severely anemic, and it was also revealed that around 17.6% dropped out of class when they were like 6 to 8, which means as soon as there was an onset of menarche, they attained puberty, they dropped out of the school. One reason definitely was the government schools were not beyond class 10 in most of the areas. So that was one security reason as well. But however, this attainment of puberty, because there was a lot of issues around the menstrual hygiene, menstrual periods, the use of the sanitary napkins, etc. Definitely there was an issue there. So we tried addressing that issue as well in our projects. The study further revealed that 84% never consumed any iron and folic supplements or multivitamins, which means that in case of some nutritional deficiency was still there because of their dietary pattern, there was no supplement whatsoever in any form through which the situation could have been handled. So we dealt with that issue as well. The project objectives were mostly around to improve the knowledge of the adolescent girls from 14 to 19 years on the consumption of iron, folic acid, the nutritional anemia. Mostly, the anemia is of various kinds. We majorly focused on the nutritional pattern of the anemia. Then we strengthened the government linkages as well and the expanding choices, because unless and until these girls have the decision-making authority, they have the purchasing capacity on certain fronts, they won't be able to break through that cycle of poor health and nutrition and hygiene. And obviously the lack of education, because they are dropping out, which ultimately means that they are certainly deprived of all the governments or majority of the government schemes which are run through the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan of the school health or the school health programs. The target population for the project was we developed a cohort of 1,000 girls, age 14 to 19 years in the 8 to 10 villages, like 10 villages of Ameergarh block. Now these 1,000 girls were identified. The target age was definitely 14 to 19 years, and since this cohort was fixed, which means these 1,000 girls never through this entire period of 1.5 years, that is like 15 months precisely, none of the girls came in or they never went out of this cohort. So to keep that age group intact, what we did was we identified the girls for around 13.5 years until 18.5 years, so that the moment, even if the project goes for no extension phase or something like that, that cohort remains intact. So the selected, as I said, the selected villages was around 10. It was around 1 year project with a no cost extension phase of 6 months. The duration of the project was divided into 3 phases: pre-operative, implementation, and summative phase. This is a schematic representation of the implementation framework. There were 3 broad pillars of the implementation: the communication strategy, then there was a linkage and leveraging strategy, and then there was a community ownership, that is community engagement. The communication strategy majorly focused on the knowledge building aspects, the sessions, the technicalities of other things, the recipes, the nutritional enhancement part, the anemia management sessions, etc., etc. Then there was leverage. We connected, since this was a nutrition focused program. So obviously the center and the focal point of the project at the community level was definitely Anganwadi Center, which means ICDS, Women and Child Development Department. So we kind of joined hands with the sub-centers, the Anganwadi, the public distribution systems, etc., so that we can leverage whatever is there existing within the system itself. We never wanted to create a parallel machinery out of or within the community itself, because ultimately at one point of time this project would definitely phase out, and the community have to be sustainable, self-sustainable. And that's the idea, to sort of provide a technical assistance to the government initiatives as well. And that was the idea of linkages and leveraging strategy. The community ownership model also talked about these leveraging and leverage and engaging strategies, because unless the community would have the ownership, there would not be a demand and supply equation out there. So we kind of created a need, we created a demand within the community through various communication and community engagement programs, through home visits, through various competitions, through various monitoring exercises and other initiatives. So and then there was a part of to create a market visibility, to create the purchasing capacity of the girls. We created a market linkages, we provided them technology inputs. There were orientation and training programs as well. And we also collaborated with some of the government livelihood units such as Seva Rudi. Then there was NRLM, there was certified other, say for example, Banas Dairy was one with whom we collaborated. So there were some trainings also provided to these girls, and the outcome ultimately was there was an improved and a remarkable improvement as far as their nutritional part of the girls was concerned. As I talked about the pre-strategies, there was social behavior change, there was linkage and leveraging strategy, there was development of resource center in terms of Anganwadi centers, there was community ownership and social enterprise model for the sustainability of the program. The major activities were, like, we started with because we were also new to the community. So we joined hands with a local NGO out there, developed our team, and then identified close to 1014 girls, out of which 658 were school going, 356 were out of school going. And in total, there were 36 groups. And each village had 125 girls in total. So say within each village, there was, like, say 2 to 3 groups. Each group had 25 to 30 girls. So that was an average number I'm talking about. So which boiled down to ultimately 1014 girls in total. Then we also developed some training and resource material in form of flipbooks. There were some audio-visual aids tools as well. We also gave them a diary which had some messaging, and there were some images also pertaining to balanced diet. Then there was use of sanitary napkins, then anemia management and things like that. So it was called Meri Diary, which the intention of giving that diary was they could just write down their own experiences, because during baseline, what we and during our Reiki exercises as well, when we talked about the aspirations, these interestingly, these girls, they definitely aspired to go beyond their given circumstances and the situations, but ultimately their highest aim to be in the future was to become an ASHA worker. I clearly remember there was just one young girl who just said, I want to be a police superintendent of the area. She was just out of, say, 10 villages I went, and she was just one girl who talked about that. So the aspiration also was pretty low there. So we encouraged him to write down their aspirations, how did it evolve, and throughout the span of one and a half years time. We conducted several technical sessions as well as covering 15 topics, and there were around 110 sessions. We started with a very, very modest number of 504 sessions, averaging around, say, 2 sessions per week. But we ended up doing some fabulous number of 1110 sessions, and these 1110 sessions, when I say this, means 1110 touch points. So there were 15 topics around gender norms. There were menstrual hygiene, there were balanced diet. Then we talked about employment. We talked about use of sanitary napkins. We talked about early marriage, early pregnancy, age at marriage, and things like that. The exercises, the physical activity during menstruation, and other reproductive changes. They will go through their aspirations. So broadly these kind of topics were covered there. Towards the mid of the intervention, we also identify some peer educators, so that they would become a change agent, and then they would take on the interventions to the next level, even if the project phases out after a certain period of time. So within that group itself, say within a group, there were 2 peer educators or change agents identified, and these change agents were again handed over, are now under the supervision of Samvedna Trust, which is a local NGO out there, and that Samvedna Trust is kind of hand-holding these change agents to take the project to the next level, and create a kind of interface with the government systems, the Anganwadi centers or the other sub-center, the ANMs, the ASHA, the frontline workers, within their own purview. There was a distribution of IFA tablets. 64,896 IFA tablets were consumed by all the girls by the end of September 2019. What we tried doing was, this project phased out somewhere around March 2020. However, we started phasing out the intervention somewhere around September last year or October last year, in a phase-wise manner. The reason being, what we wanted to see was, by January or February, we were planning to do our end-line assessment. So we wanted to see that the moment we start phasing out our intervention, is there any actual behavior change happening within the community, within the girls, or is it just the intervention which is even if I say forcing them to do it, is it that, or is it the actual behavior change? So that is why we started phasing out some of our intervention. One of them definitely being the consumption of IFA tablets. Okay, here again, I'd like to point out that these IFA tablets were not given from our side. These were these tablets which were leveraged from the government side, because there's a government initiative which says that during VHND, that is Village Health and Nutrition Day, all the adolescent girls of that area would be given IFA tablets. Now, for some reasons, they were not given, and when we intervened, we streamlined that thing as well. So initially, there was also confusion that is there a separate tablet for the pregnant lady, and there is a separate tablet for the adolescent girls as well. Even the frontline workers were not very clear of this, because during the VHND, that is Village Health and Nutrition Day, when there is the ANC, the antenatal checkup for the pregnant ladies are expected to be done, they are also to be given the IFA tablets, which is of red color. Whereas these adolescent girls, the IFA tablet given is of blue color. So even the frontline workers who were actually mandated to give these IFA tablets were not aware of the fact that the IFA tablets of the pregnant ladies and the adolescent girls are different. So had to intervene out there as well, and be connected with the MOIC, the medical officer in charge at the block level, and
I'm sorry to interrupt you,
ensure
Pragya.
that it at
I'm sorry to
Yes,
interrupt you,
please.
Pragya. Your time is I mean, it is over. But yeah, you can finish it.
I'll just quickly wrap up. No worries. Okay, so the nutritional snacks there was around around 13,000, 1 lakh 30,000 laddus, which was like protein based protein. Was the main constituent out there. There were home visits, as I talked about. Then there was the kitchen garden, which was a major initiative. Distribution of the sanitary napkins was around 18,912, which phased out somewhere around 2019. There was 13 girls who were partnered with SCORE Foundation, and there were 13 girls from the 5 villages who were developed as entrepreneurs. These are some of the monitoring and evaluation activities that we did. There were panel tests, there were quarterly hemoglobin and BMI monitoring, lot quality sampling. There was Bitrida trial on the digital monitoring applications. Quickly going down to the nutritional morbidity, you can see there has been a major change given the baseline vis-a-vis the end line of the project. Here, the most important thing I like to highlight here is the MDD, that is the diet diversity in last 24 hours, like of more than 5 groups. So in end line, you can see that there has been an increase of more than or equal to, which is like 40.8. Now here it is important to mention that these are 95% significant.
Thank you, Pragya. In case if you have some more data to share. I'm sorry.
I'm just picking up the major ones.
In case if you have more data to share, Pragya, we would again come back to you so that we can share this data to jury members because the time is already really over. So in case if you just quickly close it, I mean, because others are waiting, so that's the reason I'm just insisting.
Sure. I'll do that. Okay, then I'll just quickly talk about the partnerships, the collaborations. These were the major partnerships and the collaborations with the Dantewada University and the Banas Dairy. I just like to highlight this way forward that we're talking about. The major finding of our evaluation and the monitoring exercises was, and when we phased out was, there was no doubt there was a significant behavior change. However, because of their lack of purchasing capacity, these adolescent girls were not able to carry forward the behavior that we had inculcated. Say, for example, the purchasing the sanitary napkins or going to sustaining the kitchen garden, etc. So now, what we are in the next phase, what we are doing is we have kind of we are entering to the same community with the same girls through an creating an economic empowerment and creating a commercial viability of all the things that they are doing. So at the inner core is the healthy eating habits, mantle would be the economic empowerment, and the trust would be all the nutrition enhancement programs. These are the quick links and the stories on the Facebook and the other social media sites. And these are some of the glimpses of the activities. I think I would like to close here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pragya. It was very informative, very detailed presentation, and it was truly pleasure having you and representing Smile Foundation. Such a fantastic work you're doing. Next we have, I'll move quickly to our next presentation. Next we have from Spark Minda Foundation, and from Spark Minda Foundation we have Mr. Praveen Karan with us, and he'll be speaking about his project called Present Program. Just to introduce Mr. Praveen Karan, he's a professional social development leader. He's popularly known for his social development thoughts and ideas, which he keeps on sharing. He has been speaking and raising voice around the various issues like environment, poverty, education, and livelihood. Currently, he's heading the Group CSR at Spark Minda Group. Praveen sir, I would like to thank you very much for joining us, and stage is yours.
Thank you, Manoj. Just to check, am I audible and visible?
Yes, sir, very much.
Thank you. And how much time will I have, Manoj?
Sir, you have 10 minutes technically.
All right, it's 5:45, 10 minutes, 10 points I have to present. Respected jury, I'll not be taking 10 minutes for it, and I'll be making a presentation on my project over these few bullets: the need, the objective, the modus operandi, innovation, replicability, scalability, collaboration, sustainability, way forward, and the 10th point is SDG and impact. I represent an organization called Spark Minda Group, which is an automotive company since 1958. We have a legacy to do corporate social responsibility and community development work for past 37 years. We work in the areas of skilling, education, empowering persons with disability, environment, resource protection, and healthcare. Specifically for the day, I have chosen one project which I wanted to present to the respected jury and social story today. We are an automotive manufacturer. We make various components and we supply these components to our customers from two-wheeler, four-wheeler, and commercial segment vehicles. So there are various products. Somehow 5 years back, we thought, can a business integrated project be done under CSR domain? And by thinking this, we were thinking about the vulnerable groups where the accessibility is more desired, where the human rights have to be complied. And then somehow we got an idea that let's get into the prisons of India. We worked with some of the data points, and the data point told us that there are 5 lakh prisoners in the country in some 1412 prisons. We found there are 20 women cells also, where there are 20,000 women who are the women prisoners. And we also tried collecting the facts that how many people inside the prison, let's not call them prisoners. We found a terminology and learned it to call them inmates. How many inmates are economically productive? We found the statistics was very less. They were engaged, although in some or the other works, but not typically contributing towards the economic productivity. That was the need. And we also identified that while these inmates are inside the prison, their families, their children, they face it difficult to sustain. So there should be an income generation activity that could be able to help their families. Considering all such need, second point, we started with an objective. We created the objective that will create a crimeless society. Meanwhile, I'll request Shobika, my colleague, if you can just run through some of the slides. Shobika, the glimpse of the project for the respective jury and social story and other participants. So the creation of the crimeless society, how? Through engaging the inmates in economically productive activity and therefore sustaining their families. That becomes the objective of the project. The modus operandi, we have to reach to the prison authorities. We have to convince the authority that we would like to set up a project inside your prison for which we require a space. We set up a small manufacturing facility, typically as an manufacturing that we do in our factories. And then we require some logistic support, some administrative support from the prison authorities. We took approval from our customers like Mahindra, like Bajaj, Maruti, that they agreed to buy these products which are manufactured by these inmates. We set up the inventory, we did the selection of the inmates, we trained them, we counseled them, we give them skill training how to manufacture our products. We also give them the life skill and soft skill modules, the 5S modules, and then we signed an agreement and set up this facility. The journey started somewhere in 2014 in Bihar. Saja Nahi Sudhar. That was the concept of Kiran Bedi ji. Duly inspired by this concept, we set up the first inventory in 2014 in Bihar. That was the first inventory ever done by any automotive industry in India. What was the innovation? The innovation was, I told, it was a business integrated CSR, which is supplementing not only to the community, the people, the inmates, they also are the part of this country. The human rights, the accessibilities are their rights also. And ultimately this business, this inventory, this project in totality is adding to the business also. How? Because we are able to manufacture, and not only manufacture, but we pay for the work that these inmates are doing to sustain. We sell the products, which is a finished product. The products are wire harness, there are switches, there are many other products that we manufacture inside the prisons, and we sell it to our customers, and the money that we get from them is paid to these inmates. So my business is also very, very confident that there is no labor issues, there's no IR issue, there is nothing going to happen, and everything is pretty smooth. And the expectation is that these people will learn a skill set, that once they are out of the prison, they have plan B. There are many under trial people also who can also get an opportunity to work in these prisons. The applicability was there. We started from Tihar in 2014. We went to Yerwada Women's Cell in 15. In 2016, we went to Nagpur Women Prison. In Aurangabad, again, we did one intervention in 2016. And then again, Yerwada Women's Cell in 2018. Close to 150 people are working at today with all these prisons, and they are manufacturing our products. 150 multiplied by 5, 750 people. We guess that there should be 5 members in each family. 750 लोग इस project से हमारे हिसाब से लाभान्वित हो रहे हैं. The collaboration was with the government, with our customers, Bajaj, Tihar, Maruti, there was Mahindra. They all participated in that, and of course, Pak Minda was there to facilitate it. We are likely to get into another few collaborations where Vision India Foundation, Dr. Kiran Bedi's foundation would be joining hands with us. The sustainability of the project was there for the business. That was for the CSR also. How? Because the business would always be giving funding for these projects because it's supplementing to them. For the inmates, because they are learning a skill set, they can use this skill set once they are out of the prison, post their tenure, they can get a job outside. For the inmates and their families, they are able to give the earning to their families to sustain, and the jail authorities are able to maintain this, do this facilitation on our behalf. Of course, the project is adding to the prison authorities also for managing it. Why? Because we are also able to add to the prison welfare. Well, the SDG Connect, we find that this project is supplementing to SDG 16, which is peace, which is strong institution, and of course, SDG 17, which talks about partnership and goals. The way forward, we are eyeing to another few prisons. Because of pandemic, we are not able to do it so far, but we have our discussions going on with a couple of prisons where we'll be setting up these inventories and also identifying the need of the women inmates inside the prison. We are going to set up the sanitary napkin vending machines. We'll be doing the awareness sessions with the women inmates inside the prison. And not only that, but we'll be setting up the manufacturing of sanitary napkin inside the prison. And from one prison, 5 prisons would be supplied the sanitary pads. So that becomes a self-sustainable model. So this program has to go to a long run. And talking about the impact in my last 1 minute, well, I yet believe that this program has received the outputs. अभी परिणाम आए हैं. Impact, मतलब प्रभाव आना अभी बाकी है. We would go for an impact assessments also to understand that how this program is benefiting to the lives of the inmates. How is it changing the pattern of the lives of their dependent families? And how is it adding to the partnerships to our business, our customers, and also to the prison authority? I stop here. I have taken my 10 minutes, 9 minutes rather. I have 1 minute if we have any question from anyone. Thank you, Manoj.
Thank you very much, sir. Such an inspiring work that you're doing. And I mean, the greatest thing is that, sir, you took even lesser time what was given to you. And there are certainly marks given for the time management also, how well you manage your time during the presentation. And the work certainly you're doing already is very, very inspiring. And since I know a little bit about this project, thanks for joining and thanks for sharing your impact journey. I'm sure a lot of people and our, from our social media and audiences here must have got insights about the work, and certainly if they they are seeking any kind of learning and collaboration with you, they can reach out to you as well. Moving
Thank you,
forward,
Manoj.
thank you
Yeah,
very
thank you,
much, sir.
Manoj. If needed, we can share all the things in the form of a data point to you for the review. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. For our audience and all the participants, I would like to share that this initiative has the dual assessment metrics. One is the storytelling, and we have the jury members. Apart from that, we will reach out to all our participants with the questionnaire and the framework, requesting them to share the data basis, the data as well as this presentation. Based on their weighted average, we will pick up the top 6 organizations who are making the impact, which will be going to a physical event round. So going forward, moving forward with the event, we have next organization. It is Prabhav Foundation, which is nominated by Jindal Stainless. First of all, we would like to thank you, Jindal Stainless, for nominating their impact organization. And from Prabhav Foundation, we have, and their project is restoration of park. And we have Ms. Parul Kumar from there. Just to introduce Ms. Parul, Parul is the co-founder of Prabhav Foundation. Strategy and project planning is her greatest passion. At Prabhav, she is building an inclusive society wherein every individual lives a life of dignity as an empowered and self-reliant entity. Parul was awarded the Social Entrepreneur Award in 2016 and also awarded with the Nari Samman Award. Parul, I would like to welcome at Social Story and would like to request you to talk about your project.
Hi, Manoj. Thank you so much. And it's been a great learning from all of the speakers who have spoken till now. I'll start with a little shloka from Bhagavad Gita. Karmanya vadikarastu ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phal hetur bhuvna te sango astava karmanani. हमारा अधिकार केवल कर्म करने पर है, फल पर नहीं. इसलिए फल की चिंता छोड़कर अपना कर्म ही करें. फल तो हर हाल में ईश्वर को ही देना होगा. Good evening, members of the jury, ladies and gentlemen, my friends. I take this opportunity to thank Jindal Steel Foundation to nominate Prabhav Foundation for this corporate social impact storytelling event done by Socio Story Foundation, a great platform that recognizes the hard work of the social workers across the globe. In this not so safe times, most people have now adapted themselves to a situation that took world by a storm about 6 months back. At present, we are all looking for sustaining and refocusing ourselves and becoming future fit. So I shall start my talk by sharing my screen with you all. I hope it's visible to everybody.
Yes, yes, it is visible.
Okay, so I started my talk by reiterating a popular shloka from Bhagavad Gita, only to reiterate in no way can we predict the results. Prabhav is a journey which began with a couple of friends from diverse educational backgrounds who became instrumental in making a difference and having a positive impact on the society. Since 2011, there was no looking back. Of course, we started, we stumbled, we paused, we learned, we failed, and we struggled. But we succeeded and never gave up. And we thank our corporate partners for strongly supporting our programs and implementing CSR projects professionally. Now, this is Prabhav Foundation is a 10-year-old organization which is well accredited with FCRA to ATG Niti Aayog. Coming telling session today. So my presentation is more like a story for everybody because stories create great impact on the mind of people. It was 2005 when the vision of Mr. O.P. Jindal was created into a park by their family in the state of Haryana, and the city was Hisar. 2018 August, I get a call from CSR head of Jindal's, Brigadier Williams, whom I admire and respect a lot. He's been a teacher, and our team visited the park. I'm showing you some pictures which showed the condition of the park. Of course, when it was created in 2005, it was a beautiful space with water fountains and musical fountains and 24 acres of green span. These are some of the pictures that I want to show, the state in which we got this park. There was no looking back since 2018. And with the help of the CSR team of Jindal's, we could able to start our work. There has been a vast change in the present scenario of the park, and we did a development program. We came up with a green wall, a live green wall, which was first of its kind in the city of Hisar. We, of course, started planting plants there. There were lots of new benches which were put. The community involvement was there in every kind of work that we were doing there. The Jindal CSR team took great participation in every activity that we did. The new dustbins were installed, and this park had started to look little more beautiful. We innovated by using recycled tires and making them into planters. There's a central sundial area which needed a lot of attention and which is the heart of the park. And as a result, we paid more attention towards it and recreated into a beautiful area. During the course, we had a challenge of waterlogging in the park, and as a result, water harvesting was also done in the park. When our team had visited in the beginning, we realized that there were no toilets available for the society which was using the park. So we came across this major hurdle by installing brand new steel toilets, and which are being well taken care by our team. We came up with some innovative ideas of having Tepori animals in the park. I'm sorry. So these are some of the glimpses that the park looks like now. We have steel installations, which of course, the Hisar being the steel city, it has to be there. There is a crab and there is a fish, both very well fitted with the ecosystem of the environment project that we had taken. We used recycled cycle rims to create beautiful structures, and thus creating a different story for the park users. Now, the look and feel of the park is totally different. We also celebrated all the festivals with the community there. During our course of our activities, there was a big challenge because the water logging happens in the park. And this is because the community all around used to break up the wall from the back and the water filled the park. This was a great challenge which we took up. And as a result, we created a big water harvesting system in the middle of the park, which can now take up the entire water of the area. And we are reusing it also. Another great initiative that we took was mural painting in the park. And there were 8 beautiful L-shaped structures which adorn the park on 4 sides. And as we thought that the culture and heritage of the Hisar has to be brought to everybody's knowledge. The history of Hisar goes back as far as the Harappan culture, and there is Swang theatre, and we found that there were artists who were of international fame living in Hisar, but the people and the society of Hisar did not know about it. So all those things were brought in the form of paintings on the walls of the park. The CSR team, the community, the Prabha Foundation team, everybody, along with, of course, the expert artists, created these beautiful murals. And it was a beautiful journey to have live pictures and an educational picture for the in between this environmental project. So this is the Rakhi Gadi, which shows the Harappan, the Harappan civilization. Then this is the Dari making of Hisar. So we integrated the culture and art of Hisar and Haryana into the park. We brought that culture into the park. By the end of the first year, we thought that it is very, very important for us to showcase what we are doing. And we came up with an idea of having a music in the park, which we called Sanj. And as a result, the whole area, the school children, everybody, all the stakeholders were gathered in the park. Mrs. Jindal, the senior Mrs. Jindal was also there. Then of course, Mrs. Deepika Jindal honored us there. And we had the song theater presentation. We had the folk music presentation. And there was an artist who gave motivational singing to the school children. Along the way, as we were going, what we realized that the community all along the area also needed participation in the park, because they have to have an onus for what we are developing this park for. So we started a community development program within the park, and all the ladies and the gentlemen from across all the villages which are very close to the park attended these sessions. And these sessions were interactive sessions, telling them and asking their problems, because it is very important to create that rapport when you are reaching out to these people. And with our experience, we noticed that they gradually started opening up with our trainers, and we talked about the health of the menstrual health, we talked about the general health, we talked about so many topics, the environment, of course, and made them the torch bearers for the park to take care. We gave them responsibility that this is their own park, and it is an important thing to look after this park. And they happily came forward and to take care of the park, and now we have lesser challenges in the park. The impact assessment of this kind of a program is little difficult, because the number of people that you impact is very difficult to maintain. But we have the employment generation is done through appointing the gardeners, the security staff, the cleaning staff, the janitorial staff, and the supervisor. So we have divided our matrix of creating an impact through these things: employment generation, then the infrastructure that we are bringing into the park, how it is benefiting the society, how it is benefiting the park, and how it is helping in creating a beautiful ecosystem. So we have the installation of benches, installation of toilets, potted plants, green wall, wind chimes, art and culture. So on these 6 bases, we have a matrix, and it is all through a database and through it's a very transparent way. Anybody with a click of a button can know what we are doing there. Also, the water conservation project, which is very, very important in such a scenario, of course, the repair of the water tank from rainwater harvesting, and also reusing the rainwater from the hydrants, because one of the mentors of socio story, Professor Professor Anil Prakash Joshi, in one of the TED Talks I remember, said that the economy is booming, but the ecology is glooming. So it is very important to have, along with the GDP, it is very important to have the GEP to be noted. And these are some of the matrix points by which we are trying to help evolve and calculate the GEP of the area. Green and the brown areas of the whole park, the 24-acre park, has been divided. The brown areas are the basketball court, the volleyball court, open yoga sthal and amphitheater. And of course, the green areas are the playground, children's park, open gym, and walkways. And as a result, we can have a comparative way that how many trees are being planted, how much of oxygen is being produced, how much of carbon dioxide we are trying to recycle, and what is the rainwater intercepted. So now it's I can go on and on and on this project, because this is like a passion to me, developing this park. And it is sometimes very strange to feel that how can a park be a part of a CSR program? But for us and for Jindals, I feel that the park has become a beautiful hub to develop and sustain the culture, the environment of the whole area. The number of people that visit the park is unimaginable. There's every kind of facility which we have provided for the people. And looking forward, and the way forward, of course, we have immense ideas to make it one of the very beautiful green patches in Hisar. And my request to everybody is that along with every project, I think a green patch must be developed so that we can keep increasing our GEP. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Parul. This is fantastic listening to you. And yeah, you rightly mentioned about Dr. Joshi, and he's working on the gross environmental product. And since we are closely associated with him, and he's mentoring us, and we can certainly feel the impact that you are trying to make. And since Dr. Joshi says that as we have the GDP in the country, the way we calculate the GDP, it's the same way there should be some mechanism where we also need to figure out the GEP, the gross environmental product. So thank you very much, Parul Kumar, for joining us.
Thank you so much,
thank you very
Manojji, and wishing everybody a very happy Teachers' Day, because we are learning from everybody, each other in this society, and happy Teachers' Day. And life is our biggest teacher. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for
having me over.
Thank you very much for joining, and thank you very much, Brigadier William sir, for nominating your work. And we are thankful for Jindal Stainless and Vilina and all the people who have been supporting us from the Jindal Stainless. So thanks, Parulji, for joining. You can disconnect your screen share. So next we have, we just had Prabha Foundation, which was nominated by Jindal Stainless. And now next we have, we have ArcelorMittal and Nippon Steel. So from ArcelorMittal and Nippon Steel, we have, we have next presentation from ArcelorMittal and Nippon Steel, and their project name is Health Service to Water Marooned Moist Affect Area of Malangiri District. It's in Odisha. And from ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel, we have Dr. Vikas Yadvendu with us. And just to introduce him, Dr. Vikas Yadvendu is CSR and sustainability skilled professional, having hands-on experience of working in various sectors ranging from the extractive industry, mining, and metals, energy to NGOs. He is currently working as head of CSR with ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel India Limited. He has successfully led several projects and programs directly and in convergence and sustained it for lasting impact. Thank you very much, Dr. Vikas, for joining us today, and thank you also for supporting us and nominating your project. I would like to welcome you today. Now, stage is yours.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Manoj and Social Story, for providing us this opportunity to be part of this session. And good evening to all. Really, it was a enriching and amalgamation of a lot of projects and a lot more things to pick up. And it's a good platform. So once again, thank you, Social Story. So now taking to our project, now I would like all to take you to a very remote location of Malkangiri district in Chitrakonda, where we are enabling some health services to the very unreached and unaccessible place. So to start with, just to give a background, I will just yesterday only we had a camp there. So I'm just sharing my presentation. Yeah, Manoj, can my presentation is seen on screen?
Yeah, it's visual, sir. You need to do it full screen.
Yeah, yeah. So to give start the background, just I'm showing a minute video of the area.
Sir, video is still not, it isn't played, we are waiting.
Yeah. So yes, sorry for inconvenience. As you can see, the intervened area is located in a very highly dense forest, clad in a very remote location. I'm struggling with this slide. Yeah. The area is very remote location, and it is surrounded with a water reservoir named Bali Mela, and it remains disconnected with the for 5 months in a year from the mainland. So the only accessible to this location is that you have to move through motor boats, and the major issues when we reached out there in the location. So we have a facility out presence of business in that location of we are having a slurry pipeline and intake well point there. So the major issue related was the malaria, tuberculosis, malnutrition, and gynecology and waterborne diseases. So these people had to travel 25 to 36 kilometers, crossing the reservoir motorway boat for any health services. So there was no availability of medicines or a health services. It was a neglected place. So we took the initiative to take care of the health services of these people. So the objective was to reach out to them, provide them a health services, and encourage them to enhance the service network in this geography, which is a cut-off area, saving people from the state, and to help them economically also, because as you see, during the health services or in the crisis, they used to that impacts their livelihood also, as they lose their man days of work, and they also sometimes they don't have so much money. They sell out their pets also. So the project location is Railegada, Nuagada, Doranguda, and Badadar Gram Panchayat of Chitrakonda block of Malkangiri, which is 30 kilometers far away from the Chitrakonda and 100 kilometers from Malkangiri district headquarters. So we started a weekly program to start with. Every week we are having a health camp for them. So a dedicated team we have formed with a paramedical staff, and our CSR team goes. So it is, they had to travel 8 kilometers, which is a boat journey through the water reservoir to reach to this place. So, which is now we are catering to 15,000 population from this 4 Gram Panchayat. And 99% of the population belong from the tribal community Praja. And many of these are even not familiar with the common Odia language to exchange the word to convey their needs. So project staffing, we have a dedicated team. We have a support staff, paramedical staff, and to take along there is also a support of the existing CSC medical team of Chitrakonda. Along with them, we used to conduct these camps, which is going on every week, so in these villages. And actively the health execution plan, activating the health system with providing them support in carrying out their role. So basically these health camps at 2.0 every week we undertake the health camps, providing in a cluster of villages. All these villages are not accessible. It has taken responsibility to ensure regular health services to the community under a CSR program of the company. With well coordinated, we have collaboration with the aligned health department. Every week, more than 600 patients every week we are catering to this area, disadvantaged area, on an annual basis. So till now we have serve around 32,000 patients. So it's a beginning, it's a initial program. There are a lot of more plans to reach out to in a more concrete way. There is a evaluation and monitoring also been carried out, and there is a impact that process will bring improvement in the community behavior to access the health services in regular manner, seeking the opportunity. It will also make system closer to the community with repeated connection of the system and community, as there is a big gap with the obstacles with Naxals, remote locations, no road, big water reservoir. So these are the challenges. The community health status will improve with reduced disease frequency in the area with the systematic long-term interventions. So sustainability plan and alignment of CSR with organizational objective. There is a sustainability plan we have that through now the people are aware, they are participating in the organizing of these camps. They are organizing the venue, they are communicating to the people the camps where it will be held. So they are very much in and they volunteer in their role in proper organizing these camps. So I think these will continue after phasing out also. So this is the good development of community mobilization which has happened, and it is also aligned to our organizational objective also, since uh, we have their pipelines and through these areas, through these remote locations, so they act as a good supporter and help us in any advanced information, since it is a Naxal areas. And the business, to run the business, these areas has to be improved, and as part of CSR we are taking care of their health, all the requirements. So we have partnership and collaboration with the Line Department of Health and Family Welfare Department, Panchayati Raj Department, and as I said, there is a community engagement framework where people participate, and there are village volunteers, opinion leaders, all are taken into confidence in organizing these camps. And other important aspects is that there, though are good and well knitted work with involving all the institution people and all political leaders and all, we had made the task smooth and succeeded in achieving program objective beyond expectation, with working in such a difficult and disadvantaged area, with which is a matter of great concern for the government of Odisha. So as you can see, the some of the glimpses that the team going for a camp in a motorboat, carrying these medicines in their shoulders, and reaching out the needy, and taking care, providing them all the preventing and curative treatments in these areas. So you can see the people being diagnosed. So it's really feel good to cater to these areas which are the real there you can say India, where they are also, there is somehow neglected and requires lot of intervention in these remote locations. So there are a lot of projects to tell about, but I picked this one since this really makes us feel good as a part of CSR team and CSR work, and as a management, to reach out in this very remote location and do something good for them. So these are some news clippings which came in the local newspapers. So thank you. And end of my year, I would just like to introduce, I represent ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel. ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel is a joint venture between ArcelorMittal and Nippon Steel, and it has acquired the formerly it was SR Steel India Limited. So we are into the steel business, and we have and mining business. So our presence stand in 5 states of India, and having facilities of market centers in across India. So thank you. Hopefully I am on time, or I will.
Yes, sir, you are on time. You are on time, sir. Thank you very much. So thank you very much, Dr. Vikas, sir. So we just had Dr. Vikas from ArcelorMittal and Nippon Steel, and today's session has been fantastic, and I'm sure our audiences here at Zoom as well as social media must have learned a lot. Now I would like to request, we have Prashant Chauhan, sir. He is one of our jury member. He comes from Amity University, has been a professor of social development and having the decades of experience into social development as an educator. Prashant, sir, can you hear me? Looks like he's on mute. I just tried to unmute him. Prashant, sir, welcome. Welcome. Thanks for always supporting.
Thank you. Yeah. So thank you so much. First of all, I would like to congratulate Your Story, and especially Manoj, the founder of Your Story, a very young, dynamic and vibrant youth who has a vision to develop something, and who is trying to collect good people together. And since first episode, this is the third round which we are today on Saturday. So I think that all the organizations, those who are presenting, especially today, each one has its own impact story, and which is very, very important that this is the problem in our country, that a lot of people are doing many good things, but they are not being recognized or people are not aware about them. So I think this is a wonderful platform for NGOs, for CSR organizations, for other corporate entities. So I think this is the way I think each other should learn. First of all, what I am thinking that because a lot of people are coming together, so maybe a lot of corporates are interconnecting each other, and the kind of sync or convergence we talk about is also important. So in this way, I think maybe in future they can collaborate also, and wonderful work. And definitely 10 minutes or 15 minutes is a very, very limited time for them. They can even present for 1 hour is less for them. But I think we had a great discussion on this with Manoj, and this is the one way, and the next step is another way where we are going to see the data and every information which is being provided. So great, and I think those who have participated in it, so definitely your story is a platform which is something giving a opportunity to everyone. I'm not saying that companies, those who are participating only, but I think those who are participating as just as a viewer, or maybe in future if they are going to see. So this will give definitely a great impact to the beneficiaries, to the government especially, and other stakeholders also, where they will be motivated to do good things. And especially the Jindal Steel's Parul ji is here. Her work was very excellent. And the first one, Vikas ji, has given also very nice presentations. Everyone, I'm not able to take the names of all, but yeah, it was excellent. And I congratulate at the end all the participants, those who are here, and especially your story team and Manoj ji for organizing this. And as a jury, whatever best possible and undisputed decisions we will try to take, so that the best one can be in the top 6 clear. And definitely it is a very, very tough role, because all the people are good and best, so selecting only 6 people is definitely a challenge, but definitely we'll try to do it. So thank you so much, Manoj, for giving this opportunity.
Thank you very much for joining us today and supporting. I would like to thank you, Ashoka Innovators. Would like to thank you, TERI University. I would like to thank you, IIT Delhi, Department of Management Studies. All these sessions are recorded, and to all the participants, I would like to say that we would remain credible. We will remain honest and ethical to our approach. We have multi dimensions to evaluate this, to do the assessment of all the projects. Any organization who has participated, any person who is associated is always free to question us at any point in time as far as the assessments are concerned. As far as the results are concerned, we will put out them once we have done the assessment and evaluation. What as a team, we can commit that we will remain ethical, honest and credible to our approach, and all the organizations who are associated in this event also, like Ashoka, TERI and IIT, and Prashant sir himself is there. They're highly credible, and we are sure that all the judgments and all the final outcomes, whatever will come, will make some sense. And I'm sure, and I would like to certainly certainly thank my team who has been supporting a lot. So, first of all, I would like to thank Avdesh Dikshit sir, who has been mentoring me and has been supporting a lot since the beginning. And thank you very much, Praveen Karn sir. Also, he is also my mentor and has been supporting a lot. Priya Singh ma'am, thank you very much. And my teammates, Ananta Arora, Nikhil Mishra, Aris, everybody who has been supporting, thank you very much for supporting us. We will be coming with the further details very shortly and keep you posted on the developments. Thank you very much. Happy Teachers Day to all.